And
So you're talking about some pretty serious hyperdimensional stuff here.
Didn't know we were being protected. Our knowing would have completely changed the EM equation. They also had to speed up our evolution so we could get to where we could handle a wall of flame. They set a holographic field around the Earth. Then they set up a holographic field around each person and animal. They then began to program events into these holographic fields. In the first few months, they didn't change anything. They just got control. Then they programmed their sky into a hologram and kept everything going as though nothing unusual were happening. Then they began to program events into our lives so that we would evolve as rapidly as possible. At the same time, they were protecting us from the wall of flame. Anyway. 1972 is pretty crazy year. Now, from the summer of 72 to the summer of 74, we were moving in an entirely new direction. We began to accelerate in our evolution, then it started to get out of hand, and we began to really accelerate. This experiment was much more successful than they ever imagined. Instead of 10 or so making it through, the number is now up to 1.5 billion or so people who will make it through to the next level. We have obviously all been protected from the wall of flame. We're still here.
Okay.
The Syrian intervention also brought time for the synthetic Christ consciousness grid to be completed. Without the Christ consciousness grid, no one can make it to the next level of consciousness. This grid was completed on February 4th, 1989. Normally, when a planet goes into Christ consciousness, only a very few people initially make it through with understand the new reality. The rest drop down to a lower level of consciousness, and only over a very long period of time, the initial few pull the rest up until the whole planet reaches Christ consciousness.
So you don't actually worship Jesus, you gotta get into that Christ consciousness state of mind.
Right. There are as well different levels of Christ consciousness. The levels of Christ consciousness in the fourth dimensional are the 10th, 11th, and 12th overtones. It usually takes a long period of time for the planet to evolve through those stages. Now, the lower overtones of the fourth dimension contain the astral plane, where many of us go when we dream, a level where most people go when they die, and a place where you find things like fairies and tree spirits. It isn't until you reach the 10th overtone of the fourth dimension that you attain Christ consciousness. It is to one of those higher overtones of the fourth dimension that we, as a planet, are headed.
How do we all end up on the same subject?
Is where the graves cannot follow. They do have access to the lower levels of the fourth dimension.
Ha!
In fact, happen regularly on our astral plane. It was primarily in the astral plane where they were messing with us. Now,
You're like talking about all the same stuff I was typing about in my iPod last night.
you were typing about it in your iPod?
Yeah, we're all talking about the same thing. Marilyn's on the Christ consciousness brainwave. She calls it higher consciousness that she gets from the body of Christ, but you're talking about the same thing, I think.
Yeah. Anyway.
I was getting Christ conscious on my iPod last night. I think we're on to something. Something good's gonna happen here. From the fourth dimension, it sounds like. Is it from the fourth dimension?
The geometry of the consciousness grid around any planet changes as the consciousness of the planet changes. These changes are normally very rare. Usually small changes occur over thousands of years. Changes on the grid around the Earth are now happening hourly. This has attracted the attention of beings from all parts of the galaxy because we are inside the system. dimensional galactic television. That's why the two higher overtones are like a parking lot. Everyone is tuned into us to monitor this event because they know that whatever happens to us here will affect them too. A whole lot of everyone will be touched by this. According to top 5, an analogy for the speed at which we are evolving is one of a newborn baby becoming an adult in 15 minutes. This is totally unique. There are no memory patterns for it anywhere, even on the Melchizedek level. It appears to be the most successful experiment that anyone anywhere has ever conducted. Birnbaum now suspects that this may have been in the mind of God from the very beginning. Now, however, the Ascended Masters don't know what the outcome will be. Thoth wanted Janvala to be very clear about this. It appears to be a very successful experiment, but the Ascended Masters keep figuring out game plans that become obsolete before they can even implement them.
Game plan.
Thoth and other Ascended Masters thought the planet would reach critical mass around
Departed
the
gods.
August.
Departed gods.
Or the first week of September 1990, and then by spring of 1991, we would go into another dimensional level. The Ascended Masters said they would then bond together.
Wait, the Ascended Masters are the dark underlords of the Illuminati.
Consciousness that would pull us up and serve as the triggers for everyone to ascend. But we really missed out. We're just
That's
like
the vampire bats pulling you into that's the vampire bats pulling you into another dimension.
But instead, what happened in August 1990 was that Iraq invaded Kuwait.
Oh, okay.
The major portions of the earth did band together, and in preparation for war against Iraq, because the Ascended Masters held off. We created planetary unity by absorbed.
This is like Illuminati stuff.
Against one